Why, hello there. It is I, Ryan, Saber, and Sean. And Sean wants to have a good rant about Pokemon Sword and Shield, so I'm just going to hand it off to him.
Yes, that's right, because it's bullshit, because Pokemon's the most, uh, brings in the most money of any franchise, solo franchise, in the world, and they don't pour a whole lot of that into their games. And that's fucking irritating.
Well, a lot of
Because,
it is merchandise, but yes, they still make quite a decent chunk just from the games.
out of their total net revenue, most of it does come from the merchandise, but it's $17 billion of that comes from the games. And they usually make the games with a budget of like, not confirmed, mind you, but speculated out of information that has been released, about
It's like
1,000.
I thought it was 20 million. That's what they tend to do for their
No.
games.
No,
Because they're making billions of dollars off of like 20 million. That's still pretty good.
yeah, that turnover is fucking absurd.
I know their
But they're not.
teams are
they're not-
their team is small.
Yeah, their team is small. They don't outsource much. They don't compress data well, and it's really, really irritating, because if they did, we'd have a much better final product every time, and yeah, it would just overall help the longevity of the series. And now you've got Pokemon Go, and to a much, much lesser extent, Pokemon Masters. They're like trying to corner the mobile market on it, and it's working. And
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that future where Pokemon's a mobile only game, but like on the phone mobile, that keeps me up at night, man.
The night terrors of Mewtwo going, how about one more Poke loot box?
Loot boxes. I was watching a video on loot boxes where they were talking about how Pokemon Go does it, and that was beat 'em ups video on that, and he made an excellent point with how Pokemon Go incorporates loot boxes. Besides like the gifts, they'll just tell you, and like the Pokeballs, you know what you're gonna find. But the point that he brought up was with the eggs. You get eggs from like Pokestops and stuff, and you have an incubator, and you can buy other incubators, because you only use one incubator at a time, but you can hold up to 9 eggs at a time. So if you have like a bunch of like 10-kilometer eggs that'll only hatch after you walk that distance, are you really gonna walk 90 kilometers, or are you gonna buy a few more incubators so that way you can get all your eggs done at once, and you don't know what you're gonna get out of those eggs. Like certain color eggs and certain distant eggs will have a chance at hatching something, and it might be what you're looking for, but chances are it's not. But it'll cost, I don't actually know how much it costs, I don't play much Pokemon, but let's say like $3, and you don't know what you're gonna get
I've
all.
never actually played Pokemon Go. The last Pokemon game I played was that one where you go to islands, and I thought it was cool that they added customizing your character a little bit, but other than the fact I could get an ice-themed Vulpix, I wasn't too interested in it.
Oh, that was Sun and Moon.
Yeah, Sun and Moon.
Yeah, that's the last one I played. And then before that, it was the one where you got the weird metal dragon thing, and you had to capture the little Mews that were all based off different emotions. Forget what they were called.
Oh, that was Diamond and Pearl.
I'm pretty sure I got Diamond.
That's one I got.
Those are like the last 2 I've played, and I'm pretty sure they're far apart and not recent. So I'm not the most.
Sun and Moon's kind of recent, ain't it?
Yeah, Sun and Moon's 2016. Diamond and Pearl was like 2008.
I did not get very far in the newer one. I got to like the 3rd island. I'm like, this one's not very. It's not very great.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
But
I'm a longtime fanboy with a bias like you wouldn't fucking believe. But I enjoyed it. Yeah, it was short. It was
you could
short.
fight Red though.
well, that's cool.
You do get to fight Red and Blue. You get to choose, and then later on you face either one of them in the battle tower, or the battle tree. That's what they call it in this.
But I do know that like Pokemon has been notorious for adding good features and then kind of taking them away, even if they're mostly little things. Like I know one of them had Pokemon would actually follow you, and then the following game they took that away. I know in the island one you could like ride a Tauros, and then I didn't really get the point of that because you didn't actually have a Tauros.
Let's
Maybe
take a look.
Like that. It worked with something like that.
I mean, the idea is cool though, like being able to ride your Pokemon around on land.
That's not bad. It was just weird that I had a Tauros, but I couldn't actually have a Tauros. Because I think that's who it was.
Yeah, it's because it's like right away. Going back to the Pokemon Go with the 90-kilometer eggs.
Yeah,
have you considered just driving that distance? Because clearly that would be cheaper.
Well, it'll actually it'll stop recording your distance if you're moving too fast.
Oh, they changed that?
Yeah, they did that a while ago.
Yeah, that was like one of the first patches. So I mean, you could, but you'll be on your brakes the whole fucking time. It'd be easier to just walk.
I mean, nothing. I guess.
So yeah, I pulled up Pokemon Go right now to get the actual price. A regular incubator is 150 coins, so $1.50, and a super incubator is 2. And a super incubator breaks after 3 uses, but you can only use 1 egg at a time in it. And the regular incubator also breaks after 3 uses. So if you wanted to get all of them and you want to do it with the super incubator, do it quick. 9 times 2. That's $18, and you don't know what the fuck you're gonna get out of it. It could be garbage.
Kind of shitty.
Yeah, kind of shitty, and they change the rates on that shit. The percentages. Often.
That's very shitty.
Often enough to where it's kind of a pain in the ass.
I've never really been the only mobile game I play is the Fire Emblem one.
That's pretty shitty. But going back to what you were saying about like the ice Vulpix and all that. That's something about recent Pokemon games that I've actually really enjoyed is the regional variants, because that's a neat concept. I hope they keep doing that, because like a Vulpix that grew up in a tropical setting where there just so happens to be this mountain that's very much a snow-covered mountain, but at the same time in the same region there's an active volcano. So it's like, why didn't they just go there? But hey. Fuck that, right? We want an ice fox. So yeah, they put it up there. And in the new region they have like a Galarian Weezing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the top hat one.
Yeah, he's I
don't remember that.
Because during the Industrial Revolution there was too much pollution that was happening in the Galar region. So the Weezings, rather than hunting with it, like they did in Kanto, they just started eating the pollution, and then releasing purified air. But because they eat the pollution, it gathers around their mouths, and it's like super concentrated. That's why they have the mustache, and they put the clean air out through their smokestack top hats. Which I'm like, that's neat, kind of dumb, but okay. And that's why it got the fairy type, which is kind of a bummer. But so it's a poison fairy.
That's goofy looking.
Yeah,
it's neat.
It's a fairy type. I thought it was just like I don't know what I thought.
And it's 9 feet tall.
That's a big smokestack.
That's a big smokestack.
That thing
fucking
looks
Dimmadome looking ass.
That thing looks. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Poison fairy. Gotcha.
And more recently, they announced Galarian Ponyta, which they did it in a very interesting way. They had a 24-hour live stream, as though they had like a nature camera placed in one of the forests of Galar, and they would randomly have like different Pokemon that we've already seen. Just like walking through, doing nature stuff, and then without any notice, you'd see like the silhouette of the Ponyta run through, but like not slow enough to where you could actually see it. Until like was like 13, 15 hours into the live stream. One of them just walked through the camera, and it was a unicorn, and it's got like a different colored mane, and then at the
Yeah,
very
it's
end,
like purple
two of
and
them
blue.
run. Yeah, it's like pink and blue, and at the very end, two of them run together, and their manes start glowing. It's a psychic type.
It looks cool.
It looks like a fairy type, but it's a fucking psychic type. And I'm like, okay. Whatever you say, man.
Whatever happens.
It's like Weezing's a fairy type, but this mythical fae creature is psychic type. Okay.
Traditional
fine.
unicorns heal people, so
I would
maybe
say
it'll have
it
a
should
heal
have
move.
been. It should be fairy type because I mean fucking duh. But hey, you know, whatever, it's fine. Looks neat. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Looks neat though.
That's good. Yeah, I like it.
But I thought the presentation there was the more interesting thing because it's like, what other company could do something like that besides something that has the pull of Pokemon? They have the potential to like do these good ideas, and they shit the bed sometimes, and I don't understand.
Oh yeah, I heard they were getting rid of Mega Evolutions. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
This generation, you get Dynamax and Gigantamax, which is like Dynamax, but their form changes too. Whereas Dynamax, they just get big. Gigantamax, they get big and change shape.
Like they get a horn.
Like there's the Snapping Turtle one they announced. His Dynamax, he's just the turtle but bigger. But his Gigantamax form, his armor plating changes positions. And he stands bipedal instead of on all fours, and like his head gets tucked in, and his the blade on his forehead grows longer.
Maybe he's a friend to all children.
Yeah.
Gamera.
Or
As a Gamera looking ass. Holy shit.
Corviknight. He's the other one they're pushing a lot. He's the Metal Hawk or Raven. Hawk. Metal Raven. He's got a Gigantamax form, whereas like normally he'll have his wings out to the sides and flat. When he Gigantamaxes, he'll put his wings out, but kind of like forward, like he's T-posing almost, but not the way a bird would normally. And
well, he's got to assert his dominance.
Yes, he does. And like the interior of his wings are like start glowing
This game has
red because he's an edgy bird.
Huh.
Because of that, there is no Mega Evolutions, and there's no Z moves, which I understand the Z moves thing because that was just an Alola thing. Those Z crystals were only found there. I think they could still find a way to implement the game mechanics so it's like, ooh, like once you beat the game and like an Alolan traveler comes through and like, hey, you seem like a pretty tough kid. Beat me in a battle. I'll give you something good. And he gives you like a Z-ring or something. And be like, okay, so the mechanic's still there. It's just not part of the story. It's like, because they've done it before. They did it for Mega Evolutions in 7th generation. You meet two people from the story in X and Y, and they give you a Mega Stone. And it's like, it should work the same with your Z-ring. Go ahead. And it's like, all right. But no, they're just cut. There's no Mega Evolution, no Z moves. You get big. That's it.
Is that a balance reason, you think? Because only certain Pokemon could Mega Evolve, and with the Dynamax and Gigantamax, or whatever they're called, those apply to every Pokemon?
It is, but Z moves could also be done by every Pokemon, with some having specific ones. So on one hand, I understand. And on the other, Dynamax only lasts for 3 turns, and it changes all of the moves that they have. So if they have like a water type move that does damage, it turns into one kind of move that just does water damage. And then if it's a status move or anything else, it turns into Max Protect, which is just a big shield. So there's no status effects for Dynamax, but when you use an attack, if you use a water type attack, I think it starts to rain. If you use a fire type attack, the sun comes out and starts burning the battlefield. A rock type, a sandstorm starts, and so on and so forth for every type.
A fairy type, everyone gets high.
Yeah. Whoa.
A hypno, everyone gets. Never mind.
Oh my.
Everyone gets Cosby'd.
Ah, Cosby.
Well, Cosby themed Pokemon aside, I get the I can kind of get what the idea behind that is, at least, where they're taking it out. I do agree with you. They probably could have put it back in. Personally, what I think they should have done instead of, because I'm pretty sure they added new Pokemon this generation, right?
Oh yeah.
Instead of focusing on that, since they already have like 800 or whatever, you probably know the actual number. I don't. But instead of focusing on more Pokemon, maybe focus on upgrading current mechanics. Like how long has it been? 6 battles with one Pokemon at a time. That I know sometimes now you can do 2, and then in one game I think you can do 3.
Yeah.
But instead of doing like 4 moves per Pokemon, maybe let them learn 6. But like have like the last 2, one has to be like a defense move buff, and one has to be like an offense buff. So like, because I've seen a lot of people once they get to higher. At least I always used to never keep the defense and buff moves because they weren't really worth it as far as fighting AIs go. I'm sure if you fight people, there might be, but then upgrade the amount of Pokemon you can carry around.
Yeah, that'd be nice. And a difficulty slider that's been requested for forever. Because once you beat the story and you don't have friends, the only thing that they have is like the battle tower or whatever, and that's not fun. That's just a gauntlet you go through with the same 3 Pokemon until you stop winning, and it is just not fun. It's not fun.
They're shrinking the Pokedex for this one too, in addition to getting rid of mechanics, aren't they?
Yeah. So if like a bunch of other Pokemon games, like last generation, you had the Alola Pokedex, and that Pokedex only had, in total, I can't remember how much. I want to say the number was like 400 Pokemon in it, and then the Pokemon that didn't appear in that Pokedex, you could still like move into the game, but they didn't have a Pokedex entry. They just didn't appear in it. But they still had all their animations, they still had all their moves, and like some of them could learn new moves because it's a new game. And that was fine. But now, if they don't appear in the Galarian Dex, they're just out. So, like my favorite Pokemon is Chestnut. So if he does not appear in the Galar Pokedex, I cannot transfer the Chestnut that I've had for 6 odd years into that game.
Are they doing different seasons with the game? Like they're going to release, like, I don't know, DLC packs or whatever that come with, 100 new Pokemon? Not
or
new,
updates
but
or anything like that.
They carry over old Pokemon to the new game?
They
Maybe
have
like
not announced anything like that yet.
That's what I would do if I was in charge of this, but like you said, I know they are rumored for being bad with some design things such as data store or data space.
Yeah, an example of that, which was pointed out to me through Noggin's video on it. They don't know how to move their models around, and I'm no gaming expert. But like, let's say there's your character Lily, like the girl with the white hat and the bag from Sun and Moon. On any map that she can appear in, they don't just go in and like this model, grab this model for this scene. No, that model is in every map, and when the cutscene requires it, she just appears from where her hiding spot is on that map, and is now present. So every character that can appear in any part of the map already exists there. There's no different space for them.
Library, basically, where they pull from database, whatever you want to call it. I've
No,
done a little bit of
that's
game
hilarious.
design. Yeah, I've done a little bit of game design. I'm no expert, but I would consider myself at least an amateur at it. Yeah, as far as having it all come from one area. I'm not sure why they don't do that, or
Yeah, because
Because they don't know how. And for a
that's
company that breaks in as much money as Pokemon does, that's frankly unacceptable.
like
I
if
know.
they're using their own engine, they should probably have someone design a feature like that for them if they don't know how to do it themselves. I mean, nothing actually stops them from buying another engine and just kind of looking at how stuff works for their programmers and have their programmers steal it over. But if these are the same programmers they've had for how long and they know it works, that's probably why they're afraid to upgrade.
Oh yeah, 100% guarantee. And they don't like to outsource anything.
Which
And
is silly because I read a little bit about Pokemon before we started, and that's how I kind of know a little bit what's going on. Somebody with they're like if they're talking about like outsourcing and stuff, they don't do it, but they could easily do that in a variety of different ways. Hire more people would be the easiest. If they're not particularly interested in hiring more people, maybe uptrain their current staff. I
Yeah,
mean, with the amount of money
prepare
they
them
pull
for-
in, I don't think paying a couple $1,000s per employee to take a course or bring someone in to teach them would be a big deal.
no, not for what they make. But also, if they outsource the animations out to companies that have done it prior, they could make all the different Pokemon animations a bit more unique because they have done that before.
Oh,
With
really?
Genius Sonority, which did like the Pokemon Coliseum, Pokemon Battle Revolution games,
Oh,
which is why those games had unique and different animations for every Pokemon. Uh,
huh.
Not for every move, but those games were also made on a much, much tighter budget than you would normally see because it was just battling. And now they have these models that they've had since X and Y in 2013 that were really, really high quality models for the 3DS, and they were made that way to be future proof. So that way, something like this shouldn't be able to happen, and they've just been updating this model since. Now, the rumor is, and this hasn't been confirmed, but by a few people with keen eyes, which I am not one of, but apparently they've been swapping out those models for newer models for Sword and Shield, and the Dynamax models for the Pokemon when they Dynamax is actually a different model. So there are two models in the game for the same Pokemon doing the same thing rather than just expanding the current model that has already been upgraded. They're just using two separate ones, which is eating up space.
Are you sure? Because when I saw the when they first announced the Dynamax or whatever it was called, it looked like they were just stretching the model because of the text, like the lines and stuff on the Pokemon were like blurry.
Well, what I think he's saying, Ryan, is like they take the same model, they copy and paste it again, and then scale it up. So it would have that stretched out look that you're talking about. Is that what?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, that's what other people have noticed. Which
So,
if I wouldn't put it past them to do something like that because that sounds like par for the course at this point. But
Yeah, the whole
yeah,
Dynamax thing just seemed like wasted opportunity. Like big ass glowing red Machamp. I mean, could have given him like I don't know, not boxing gloves, but armor or
I would have rather just seen
something.
different forms for Pokemon, more Mega evolutions, and eventually like every final evolution of a Pokemon can Mega or
well,
something like that.
maybe something more like Eevee, where you can do different things for different Pokemon to get them evolve in different ways. Like I think Gardevoir does that.
Yeah, you
It
can.
it can turn into a psychic fighting or
Only the male Gardevoirs can. So once you get a male Corellia, the second form, if you give it a Dawnstone, it'll turn into Gallade, which can only be male. And
oh,
then there's different Pokemon that have that too.
I think
Uh,
that would probably be a better thing to have more common throughout Pokemon instead of worrying about new types.
like a branching evolutionary path.
Yeah, like if you maybe make. I'm trying to think of a mechanic that wouldn't be super annoying. Because, like, I could say giving your Pokemon food, for example, would be a decent way to do it. But that could also be an annoying mechanic that could take away from some enjoyment of the game if people find it irritating or time wasting. But like, yeah, like it's an example of what I'm saying is basically you take a Squirtle, and normally he evolves into a Wartortle if you level him up. That's fine, but let's say you give him a whole bunch of milk to drink. Maybe he becomes like a Warlader, and he's like a more armored version of Wartortle. It's more defense based, and it loses speed or something. It looks more knightly or something like that.
That's something.
Because knights drink milk.
Yeah, because knights drink milk. Because knights need
strong bones.
Strong bones help when you get hit by a club.
I mean, it would.
But
another popular idea that I saw floating around that I thought would have been cool, considering the setting, was armored evolutions or armored Pokemon, because they've shown that before, and it would be a decent way to help customize your Pokemon to make it seem more like yours, and you could assign an element to that armor. So an example that was given was Lucario. He's a fighting and steel type. But let's say you get an armored Lucario, and you'd have you'd have to sacrifice like a party slot for what is like a free element Pokemon essentially. And it would be like, this Pokemon is dark type.
So like a normal.
Like an elemental Pokemon that would just be dark type, and you would combine it with Lucario, and he would be fighting dark type now. So that way you could bolster Pokemon to be good at certain other type advantages and disadvantages.
Is there a dark stone?
There's a dusk stone.
Is that how you make dark Pokemon?
No. The dusk stone, offhand, the one I remember is it evolves Mischievous to Mismagius, which is a ghost type.
Oh, I wasn't sure if there was like a dark stone, like there's a water stone.
Yeah, there's a dusk stone, a dawn stone, shiny stone, sunstone.
Which one makes Umbreon?
Umbreon is just friendliness and at night. Oh. So you have to max out its friendliness at night, and then it evolves.
Oh.
And you get that by like having it first in your party, playing with it, and then battling with it a lot.
I don't remember doing that, but I remember an Umbreon.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the whole equipment thing for Pokemon to...
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be like a wasted party slot. It can just be like you get one armored Pokemon in your party. I think that'd be really neat.
Well, what you could have is you could have Pokemon plate mail, and if they're wearing it in Evolve, then bam, new Pokemon.
I mean, they got that like with Onyx and Scyther with the metal coat. You have them equip it and then trade them, and then Scyther turns into Scizor and Onyx turns into Steelix. But then they also just made Steelix able to be encountered in the wild often. So so effectively it's pretty much just for Scyther. Which, hey, then I like that. I miss the kind of convoluted trait evolutions.
I don't know, they could do some kind of comical stuff too, like if you teach Scyther Helping Hand, it does a bunch of damage to somebody.
That would
That'd
be
be
great.
fun. There was the one for X and Y. It was Inkay into Malamar. Inkay is like this little squid. It's a psychic and dark type, and its signature move is Topsy Turvy, where it'll like slam its head to the ground and then it'll do damage that way. And to evolve it, you have to level it up with the 3DS system turned upside down, because there's a gyro in it, and that makes it evolve. Because Malamar, whereas Inkay is a little squid with like regular, Malamar looks like a squid upside down with it standing on its fins and its hair being the tentacles. That's just really neat. I want more evolutions like that. That's just fun. Like, that was just someone's idea, and they're like, if you can make it happen, do it. And they're like, all right.
Yeah, there's lots of ways to improve on the whole evolution mechanic as it sits right now. Anyway, I didn't even know about the iron coat thing.
Yeah, there's another one with a few other items. Like Porygon, he's got one. And in second generation, they had him with Porygon 2. If you gave Porygon an upgrade, which was a disc, you trade him with that, he turns into Porygon 2. And then there's the dubious disc they introduced in Generation 4, which is like corrupted files. And you trade him with that, and he turns into Porygon Z, and he's like all glitched out, and like he'll like erratically move because like he's got a buggy virtual Pokemon, and it's like, ooh, that's fun. I like that.
That's neat. I would be okay with them adding more stuff like that. Personally, I think what they should do is maybe try to upgrade the just the whole combat in general a little bit. I've seen like fan made stuff where it's kind of like a fighting game, but you get like special moves that you can use based on what the Pokemon knows. I saw like a fan made thing that was kind of like that, and I thought that could be improved upon a lot. Maybe not for a mainline game, but for a spin-off at the very least. Because I know they want to keep it traditional enough to keep the people who love it invested, which is both a benefit to the series that they actually try to keep their fan base invested, but it's also hurting them a bit, I think.
Yeah, I think they're being held back, but they also just want to play it safe.
Yeah, that's what I mean. They're playing safe, holding themselves back.
Yeah, but I always thought that the combat lacked a lot of human connection for the Pokemon, because you have a Pokemon trainer, that's their job, that's what they do, yet nothing really seems to separate like a youngster category trainer from an ace trainer. They both do the same thing, they just have a different kind of Pokemon. So it's like, what separates them fundamentally? I feel like you should have like trainer abilities and stuff to do. So it's like in the anime they'll have it like dodge this attack by jumping and then do this thing, and then they'll just like do it. I feel like you should be able to learn different techniques and tactics as a trainer to like more strategize, like move your Pokemon around on the field, use this attack on the ground, dig a trench, and then you'll be like bolstered for like another kind of move, which it'd be difficult to implement, but I feel like the payoff for it would be really worth it.
It could be. I wouldn't be against them having a battle map in Pokemon.
And that whole idea sounds really good because, like, just think about all the different shit you could do. Because it's true in the anime, there'd be some of the animes doing better than the games, which is far and few between.
I have a feeling what they'd probably be better off doing, because they obviously don't want to pay on animations. So we're just talking about that. It's maybe just a talent tree for your character. So, like, every time he gets a badge, he gets a talent to go with it. Like, out of a list, you pick one.
Yeah, so you could have it as a more, like, as a technical trainer, or, like, a rush-down defensive. And you could have, like, sort of mix and match attack categories or strategies. I feel like that'd be fun, because the trainer really doesn't do a whole lot in the game. You can customize them, but that's just their appearance. It's like that their role is just as important, if not more, than the actual Pokemon itself.
Yeah, I think a talent tree would be a good idea. I also think what they should try to do is maybe massive battles, where you can throw out all your Pokemon at once and you fight maybe waves. So you could have almost a whole team built around like a frontliner, a couple frontliners, backliners, and such. And that wouldn't really require you to have a battle map per se, but a position system. So like your first two Pokemon on your list are the front two, your next two Pokemon. And that way the swap places mechanic would have an extra layer of depth to it.
What I thought would be neat, have you played a Pokémon Tournament at all?
No.
Yes.
In Pokémon Tournament, they have what's called like a synergy stone, which is just like a stone that's placed somewhere on your Pokemon, and you essentially control your Pokemon through yeah, telepathy, kind of. They read what your mind is, like what you would do if you were the Pokemon, and that they can mega evolve that way too, because you're connected at such a deep level with your Pokemon that they just have to. And for Pokemon that don't mega evolve, they just get a passive buff to like all their stuff, and they get a signature finisher attack. I always thought once that idea was born, that we'd be getting that at some point. As another answer to like how you have like Dynamax, why not just have Synergy Burst as a mechanic? So as like you have your Mega Evolutions, and like some Pokemon can do that, but you can just Synergy Burst with any Pokemon. No extra flair needed. Like Machamp, he doesn't have a Mega Evolution, but his Synergy Burst has his fists glowing red as though they're like hot steel, and him steaming, and all of his attacks have like a heat effect on them, and then like Synergy as a whole has like this rainbow burst of color, and it's always looked like really cool. And then he's got his finisher move. But if we could like take that and incorporate that with like what the anime did with like they had the Ash Greninja thing where Ash was bonded mentally and physically with his Greninja. So if Greninja took damage, he would also take damage. So you could have like a trainer fatigue bar. So if like while they're in Synergy Burst, you are also attached to that Pokemon. So if they get knocked out, your trainer fatigue takes a massive hit because you just got knocked out. I don't know if it should end the game immediately, but I think you should have like, well, now for a few turns, your actions come out slower. Which you could then plan for, or now you're just kind of screwed because you had like a speed set team and now you have no defenses. It was just a rush down, beat him quick, you hit a wall, now you're done. You lost.
Or it could be like when Pokemon.
I like the idea.
Or like when Pokemon just randomly use moves at random. I forget what status effect that is, but like when the Pokemon just kind of starts doing. Oh, it's if you're not high enough, if you don't have enough badges or whatever, and the Pokemon's too high level, it'll just kind of use whatever move it wants, or it'll go to
it
sleep.
no longer obeys your commands.
Maybe something like that if your synergy bonus burst thing wore out.
I think that's an excellent way to bring a level playing field while keeping Mega Evolution and also keeping Z moves, because you can do that. Like for Decidueye, they added him into Pokken Tournament. He has his own signature Z move, and for his Synergy Burst, he gets like this ghostly cloak of energy. It's not very noticeable. He just mostly glows purple. But his Synergy Burst attack is his Z move, which is Sinister Arrow Raid, but like heavily stylized from what it was in the game. And it turns more into a tornado of ghostly wind and arrows, and then he flies out of it and shoots a super strong Synergy Burst and arrow through the tornado that hits the Pokemon and explodes the tornado. So you could still have that and also have Mega Evolution at the same time, and we don't have the Get Big. I don't like the Get Big. I think it's a dumb cop-out.
It's not great. I think the real problem with pretty much most of the, maybe not all, but a lot of the suggestions we've had, though, is it adds more complexity to it, and I'm pretty sure that's what they're trying to avoid. While I don't necessarily think complexity in a game, especially an RPG-ish game, is a bad thing, I think that's what they're afraid of. Because how many times have you played, like, a more popular modern RPG, and it's just the RPG elements are there, but only kinda? Because they've nerfed them to the ground. How many games, like, there's somebody, like, Fallout 4, it's older, but it's a pretty good example of a game that's like, oh, it's still an RPG. You're like, no, not really.
Hey, man, you could choose what you wear. That makes it an RPG.
I'm sure that's an argument someone might make, but...
That is technically an argument. Not a good one, but an argument.
I would disagree. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's the big problem they're having with some of the things because they definitely want Pokemon to appeal for parents to children, so parents will buy their kids Pokemon games. Because
But I figured that would be the whole point of.
If their kids get addicted to it young, they'll buy like the Rayquaza stuff for their room, stuffed animals and whatnot, or you know, their Muck soap.
Muck soap.
I'm not sure if that's
would be
a
the
thing.
best. I hope
it's
it
not,
is.
but it should be.
That would be the best.
Get that sewage smell all up and on you.
I'm sure it's a fetish for someone.
Oh, 100%. It's just slime fetish, but
You
garbage.
know, I wonder if they could make like one of the different versions of Muck where he's all about being clean. He's a clean Muck.
What'd that even look like?
Well, they couldn't do white for obvious reasons. That's already his name spelled backwards. Maybe do him like shampoo blue. Yeah, shampoo or body wash blue.
They kind of did that with the Alolan Muck already. Cause like
I thought it was a rainbow.
I thought it was.
He
green.
is a rainbow. Because he's still got impurities in him, but he smells sweet. Because all the toxins inside him have concentrated into crystals. That's why he has teeth and claws, which those are super duper hyper venomous. If you get hit by it, you're out. But it's only those. The rest of his body is fairly clean. So it was
he
just a
doesn't
way
have the
to...
terrifying Muck lore of wherever he goes, the ground rots away.
I'll see if I can find the page.
I'm more concerned about how you said super duper ultimate poison claws. But anyway, these are the super duper ultimate poison claws plus 2. But that aside, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know. I forgot what I was gonna say. Something dark side, something complete.
Yes.
That looks goofy.
Alolan Muck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I like
So
it though.
It's supposed to smell sweet.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Well,
try
I
to
mean,
pull
it
up
kind of looks like rotten
An oil
ice
spill?
cream. Can ice cream rot? Probably if you let it melt like that. And
I mean, it's milk, so I would assume so.
leave it out for a while. And it might even get hard crystally bits on it. You don't know.
It's true. I do not know.
I mean, I guess I could look it up, but I'm not going to. So what other stuff are they doing with the new... I know they're not adding the actual Sword and Shield Pokemon to the game, which I thought was an odd call. Because it's like, the game's literally called Sword and Shield. Why wouldn't you have him in it? Whatever its name is. I know
Slash.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I just know it's really good because it's Ghost and Steel.
This is in the fighting game, I think. Pokken tournament.
I think
Yeah,
Isn't it-
added as
isn't it
DLC with Blastoise.
Aegislash? What the hell is the one
Yeah,
I'm
'cause
thinking of?
It's a shield and sword.
Oh, I'm thinking of
It
Metagross.
hasn't been confirmed. It hasn't been confirmed if it's in the game or not.
Oh.
Which, like you said, if it's not in the game, why? Like
no
that one alone seems like the no-brainer. But whatever, they've made more poor choices before that. But yeah, I don't know.
I remember
Did you ever do a
helping-
Mega Aegislash?
No, but they gave him a really sweet synergy burst in a Pokémon tournament where he again, like Decidueye, he just like ends up glowing purple with his like ghost cloak, but then his synergy burst attack, he does Swords Dance and like sends out these ethereal swords from around his body. And if they get caught in that, then he gets grabbed by a giant ethereal hand and turns into a giant energy blade. While the other Pokemon gets rolled up into like this crystal ball, and then the giant hand swings the sword and like slices the ball in half, and then like this light energy just pours from it. It's really neat. Which you could have more unique attacks like that for Synergy Burst, but you could also just have a Synergy Burst attack, which that's why I feel like it would be simple enough for kids to be able to grasp, because
Well, especially if they added the difficulty slider like you were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, and then like the competitive community could still have their fun, because I feel like that's different enough, and you could marry on different evolutions of, or different layers of synergy. So like,
Personally, I don't think it would be that big of a like you were saying. I don't think it'd be that hard to implement, especially if like implementing the systems that you were talking about. I don't think it would be that hard, especially with the difficulty slider. I think the main thing they would probably have to do is lower the Pokedex, and then, provided the game is successful, they could add on the Pokemon they cut out through like patches and stuff. If the game was successful enough, it could honestly work as a free-to-play model.
it could. I wouldn't want it to, but it definitely could.
I'm just talking from a business aspect. Free-to-play games, when done correctly, make boatloads of money. There's a reason League of Legends is making what? Like, they just announced an anime or whatever. A fighting game and a card game they're gonna do.
Yeah.
I wonder how many of those you'll be able to view from the launcher. Hopefully all of them.
Yeah, I would hope. It kind of needs to do all of them. I wouldn't touch the card game because...
I would. I actually enjoy card games, but that's not really what we're talking about. I mean, Pokemon has a card game, so I guess it's kind of related.
Yeah. And Pokemon card game is fine. They keep doing that.
I think it's still actually pretty successful.
It is. They're still releasing new batches. What I think would be funny is if in the card game, once the 8th generation launches, they have Pokemon in the editions for the cards that will appear, but they're not in the game. That'd be fun. Like you've got like you'll have like the next patch of cards come out with a Chestnut, but Chestnut's not actually able to be obtained in the game. So they give him like moves and stuff. That I'd be so mad. Be like, guys,
which one is Chestnut?
Chestnut. He's the final evolution for the grass starter in Gen 6. So X and Y.
I have no idea who that is.
He's just a big bulky porcupine.
I think I had a Firefox in one of them that turned into a stupid looking witch thing.
Yep, that's the same one. Same generation. I'll throw a picture in chat. But
I got it.
But yeah. Oh, you got it?
I think this. Yep, I think I might have borrowed the one that he. Yeah, okay, so that's your favorite one.
Yeah, I love him.
I think I might have. I don't think I know I didn't buy that one, but I think I might have played it or seen someone play it. I probably saw.
That one's fun.
What's his face play it?
Another fun thing would be the story. If they actually hired a writer, maybe two.
Maybe two. That's story. I don't know. That's a lot.
That's a lot. Well, what the big deal is with all of this is that you could put in all of these mechanics. You could leave in all of the Pokemon if they just utilize their resources properly. The whole thing's just mismanaged to fuck, and it's really a shame because there's so much latent potential there, and like you can make an actually good story that children can understand and adults can appreciate, but that hasn't happened in so long. Like the darkest Pokemon game has been Black and White.
I don't know, man. If I've learned anything recently, it's that, things made for children should be stupid. Look at Star Wars. It's a space movie about wizards for children.
I feel like
I will fucking end you.
I will. Let's not get into Star Wars and the Pokemon discussion because I'll get mad.
Matter.
Everybody gets mad when you talk about that. Never mind.
I get mad about Star Wars and I get mad about Naruto because, fuck.
What about Fairy Tail?
You shut your mouth.
I warned everybody. I was like, guys, just stop watching it after they beat the last evil guild. It's a good ending point. But
yeah, just stop watching it after they go on hiatus because the animation takes a dive. They forget what pacing is and what characters are.
That is also true.
We're talking about this day on model.
I
That's
think
amazing.
the Unipec is argument enough against that, or the six-pack that rests above the belly button.
Or Gajiel's face. That was beautiful.
I'm glad
Oh,
I
my.
actually didn't watch it after the animation break. I just stuck with the manga. And the ending's still shit, but still.
Oh god, it's a beautiful shit show.
I was sad because I really liked Fairy Tail, even though it was basically Friendship is Magic, the Wizards edition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it too.
And
then they just
ended it
forgot
the
what
way
made it good.
they ended
But-
it the way they did, which did not help anybody.
Yeah, and the anime had a technically better, if you can call it that, ending. Technically, there was more substance to it. That's for sure.
The fight was worse, which is somehow surprising. I mean, I shouldn't
What are
say
you
worse.
talking about?
The fight was shorter.
What are you talking about? There's a bunch of shapes. Man, I love shapes. There was circles when he opened his mouth. There was a circle in his mouth, and Natsu had a rainbow fist.
And they punched him in magic, and everyone lived happily ever after, except
Yeah,
for
and
Gray,
then
who
Broly
died of
movie.
AIDS.
Then he died.
Because I never liked Gray.
Getting off of the subject of fucking Fairy Tail.
Oh yeah, we're on Pokemon. Hey guys.
That was my bad. I caused that tangent. I apologize,
I
everyone.
had a feeling. I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna lead into something else, isn't it?
It was worth it.
Which how could it not? But either way, where were we at with Pokemon?
We were talking about difficulty, I believe.
Difficult. Yeah. I really truly feel that they could make a Pokemon game with a story that's more than just I'm the bad guy. I'm going to use legendary Pokemon to end the world, kill all love, eradicate color. Something as simple and abstract as the end of the world is kind of dumb.
Maybe
Whereas, like-
they should just have like a guy who figured out that some Pokemon have extraordinary abilities as is, so now he's created like Pokemon facilities that produce or that make mass produce crap. It's like if you have a Moltres or not Moltres, what the hell is the thing? The other fire one. I can't think of its name.
Ho-Oh?
It's not a legendary. It's a fire bird. Well, it's not really a
Ho-Oh?
bird, but Magmar.
That's
What?
That's not a bird and not a legendary, but sure, man, go ahead.
I said he wasn't a legendary, and he was kind of a bird.
He has a duck face, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe.
He's
In
got
the right light.
he's got a bill. That makes him a bird.
Sure. Roll with it. Roll with your thought.
All right, well, we'll get into if platypuses can fly is a legitimate argument or not later. But yeah, you have
yeah,
like somebody capture a whole bunch of those, and they put them to work in like a factory, and they start making mass-produced crap. And they kind of realize that Pokemon are basically better than machinery.
I mean, they are, aren't they? Because like,
I mean, they do use, granted, consenting Pokemon, for like work in power plants. They have like Electrodes and Voltorbs, Pikachus and shit.
Just put an Electrode on a stip and make a restraining bolt, so Pokemon have to listen to you.
Now listen here, Mister. That's another tangent. And let's not do that.
Pokemon slavery. That's what you're trying to end.
yeah, actually, it'd be like a darker thing that's not really hard for the kiddies to understand. That
Actually,
Slavery
Pokemon's
are
kind
bad.
of all about slavery, so maybe we shouldn't point that out.
Oh, they have their trainers that are like Pokemon are our friends, and then there's the evil trainers like Pokemon are tools for battle, nothing more. And by the end, they lose a bunch, and they're like, "You're right, they are my friends. That just so happen to suck at fighting, I guess."
They are my
it's
friends, except for Farfetch, because he's an asshole.
But now he's got Surfetched.
Farfetch.
I love that. I love that. Pure fighting type. I love it.
I didn't know Farfetch got a change.
Yeah, he's getting a low. Nah, yeah, he's getting a lowland form. He's getting a
Regional variant?
Yeah.
Yes, and a regional evolution. Surfetched. His leak turned into a lance, and he gets a shield.
He looks incredibly angry and full of himself, and like you're a peasant all in one stare. It's beautiful.
And he's
I
exclusive to
actually
sword.
like that design. I'm not sure how he holds the shield, but if Moltar is a bird, I guess I'll work. Magmar, yeah, there we go. Fuck, man, Pokemon have stupid names. But yeah, you can have your duck-billed lance fighter.
Yeah, it's I fucking love the idea of Surfetched. Yeah, he's
I like
sword
his design.
exclusive, and the
It's goofy, but I kind of like it.
look, his eyebrows are intense as shit. He's gonna stare you down. You don't know what he's thinking. That's got a poker face like you wouldn't believe.
He needs an evolution where he becomes King Fetch and gets a crown, but he stays exactly the same otherwise.
That'd be incredible.
Yes.
It's his evolution he gets when he hits level 100. He just turns into King Fetch. Or Queen Fetch, I won't judge. Maybe that crown has a heart on it.
Yeah, you have to tell them apart somehow.
There's gotta be somebody to find.
Royal Fetch, there we go.
Royal Fetch.
There we go. Playing the gender neutral pronoun.
Nah, fuck that. It'll be King Fetch. He can only be a dude.
Female's turn to maid fetch.
No, that probably wouldn't be okay for Pokemon to do.
No.
Interesting take, Game Freak.
But the shit show from that controversy would be amazing.
Oh my.
I mean, it would have very little to do with Pokemon.
Yeah, it would, but yeah, the difficulty slider though, bring that up. I thought the whole point of making the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee was like, hey, we'll do the Let's Go stuff for the casual, newer, younger fans, and then we'll keep the mainline systems like.
Honestly, instead of a difficulty slider, really all they'd have to do is add like
better
a Pokemon Frontier Zone where you can fight other people.
Well, they do have like the BattleNet and stuff, but I'm just talking about like for like the story, like the main single player experience, and then the competitive scene is already pretty challenging, but then you have kids that just fight their friends in like the playground, and it's like that they're kids, they really don't know any better. I mean, they might these days because any kid could look up Pokemon strategies on YouTube, and all of a sudden that's the kid with the biggest stick at the playground. But hey, well, it wasn't like that when I had it. So
back in my day,
all we needed was Mewtwo for all the other kids to be like, "Whoa, don't fuck with this guy."
I remember I had some cheesy combo that I figured out on the older versions. I think yeah, it was Red when I played at the playground. I think I would do. I was like, I know Mewtwo was part of it, because why wouldn't he be? I'm trying to remember what it was. I know part of it was I had him recover so he could heal himself.
Yeah.
He had like recover, swift, and I think I taught him something fucking weird like Fire Blast, and then Psychic, because even though it's like a basic Psychic move, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, Psychic's really good, especially on Mewtwo because stab damage. But yeah, I don't know. It's just heartbreaking to see the direction that Pokemon continues to choose to go. Because
they're going for
they've
simple.
got a lot of potential. They've shown that they can do incredible things with the different animes that sometimes focus on more darker subjects, and I really feel like a game for the people like us that have known Pokemon for 20 plus years. It hasn't happened yet, but why not? That would get eaten up like you wouldn't believe.
Well, what'll end up happening?
Kids would be like, "Hey, mommy, I want this game," and then, because it would actually attract a child audience because children want to get like, they want to seem cooler and more mature.
The rough and tough Pokemon, but it doesn't have to be like that. Doesn't have to be like murder.
Yeah, no, because.
Or like sex and drugs and shit, because no, I don't want that in Pokemon. But just like
my King Fetch killed Nidoking and took Nidoqueen as his wife.
His name was Edward the Conqueror.
Don't worry, the dragon types are coming.
They're waiting for the dark types beyond the ice wall. Don't worry, they're coming. They're just really slow walkers.
I have like one's an actual glacier.
I think there is. I think there is a Pokemon that's a glacier.
Yeah, his name's Avalugg. God, I love Pokemon. That's so dumb.
There's a reason I don't remember any of their fucking names.
But yeah, like obviously I didn't mean like darker, like Grand Theft Auto-esque or dark, whatever the fuck the game, Amnesia. But
Yeah.
like,
Ooh, a Pokemon themed horror game would be fun though.
I was actually just thinking about a Pokemon Dark Souls style game.
Not quite Dark Souls, but just like a
Where
hold on a second. Pokemon Dark Souls would probably be a crazy selling thing.
you play a Bulbasaur that wandered into a logging company and you got to get out. See, conquers both what we want. It's a hard game because you got to kill a whole bunch of axe Pokemon. I'm sure there's one. And then you know, you got to get out of there as your Bulbasaur, and it's like a horror game. So you know, you get both aspects. Turns out Bulbasaurs make good mulch.
Jesus.
Well, you know, you could have like a Lavender Town setting. Because Pokemon, just about every Pokemon game has had like a haunted area because ghost types.
Lavender Town's pretty popular. There's actually a pretty good remake of the entire town in Killing Floor 2. It's a DLC
Really?
map, yeah, or not DLC,
Wow.
mod map.
But like,
Plays the
you
music and
could
everything.
just have like a Pokemon game like that, where you go into like Lavender Town or the Old Chateau or one of the other ones that has like ghosts and shit, and it's like you're there to like pay respects to your Pokemon that died or something, and you're just getting fucked with by ghosts the whole time, and they can like amalgamate into different forms and like chase you down. I feel like it'd be fun. There's definitely an idea there. I can't really think of what it would really be outside of a few jump scares and getting chased. But hey, that's enough. And the novelty of it being Pokemon would be enough as a selling point as is. Who wouldn't want to play
I'm
that?
not entirely sure either of the things we just said would ever even make it past the concept room.
No, probably. But
No.
hey, you may have noticed the the name of the show is Concept Arc.
Technically, I think this is an opinionated discussion.
Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, I know we've talked about a concept arc for Pokemon, but not at this particular moment.
Yeah, maybe.
I did not come up with a
save that
Pokemon
one
game
for a
idea.
We'll save that one for a different video.
Yeah, since this is kind of more freeform, us just talking, like most of our videos, which we are working on and trying to improve. So, any other points we need to bring up on this subject? So yeah, there's also the pop-in problem with like the video and stuff where Pokemon just pop in.
Yeah, which I understand they were showing early footage with that, but this is also a console quality game, and
I mean,
that's the bar for that is quite a bit different than a handheld, which is another issue that I think Game Freak as a studio has an issue with, because they don't really develop for consoles. They've only really developed for handhelds.
I honestly couldn't tell you another game they've developed.
Tempo or Harmonite is one. They're doing the Little Town Hero, which that looks fine.
That actually looks better than their Pokemon game, like graphically.
Yeah.
Art style
I'm not
wise.
super sold on the art style just yet. I'm still probably pick it up, just because I'm curious to see, and like they haven't really made a particularly bad game, as far as I know. There's one that might be a bad game. It's like something the Badass Elephant. I know it was them because I researched that at least, because I'm like, that doesn't sound right, and it was right.
Badass Elephant.
I haven't heard.
What?
I haven't heard of any of these games.
Let me do a quick Google search here. But yeah,
I mean, I could.
I really feel like they've kind of bitten off more than they can chew with a console quality Pokemon game without outsourcing anything other than like nothing. They haven't really outsourced anything for this game. But with the other console games like Pokemon Coliseum and stuff, they outsourced to Genius Sonority, and that's the last time they've done that. Besides Creatures Inc., which is a subsidiary company of them.
Doesn't really count then, does it?
No. Tembo the Badass Elephant.
That's amazing.
Huh.
Side-scrolling platform game developed by Game Freak and Sega.
I'll stick with obscure games like Coda Princess.
Yeah.
How was that? I got it when it was on sale.
It's
Yeah.
well, the remake they did, they randomly got rid of your ability to customize your levels, which I thought was a poor choice.
It was.
It got 7 out of 10.
And in the DS one, you could actually, when you leveled up, you got stat points, and you could put them wherever you wanted. So, being myself about it, I decided to dump a bunch of points into the main chick's speed. So I had her like sprinting across the map at high speeds. Not that that really helps you at all, but I did it. I thought it was cool. But then I eventually started raising her strength, because that's where the damage comes from. But yeah, now it does it for you automatically, so you don't misspend your points. Which it's a fine safety net. I just like making jackass characters in it.
Yeah.
They weren't really effective, but they were really fun to run around with.
Hey man, that's half the fun. I was making a physical, a hand-to-hand combat only Dark Souls character for a very long time, and then I got bored. But hey, it was very fun for the time that I was invested in it.
I've seen people play through the game with only their fists.
It's fun. I was doing it in Dark Souls 3. I got to whatever ice zone. I can't remember. You fight a giant wolf rat on a bridge, and it's like guts are hanging out. I don't know.
Which one?
Dark Souls 3.
The giant monster that jumps on the bridge.
Oh, he's talking about the Illith, the Pontiff's Beast or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Pontiff Knights. That's the last thing I remember. But yeah, that was fun until I got bored.
First, I thought he was talking about Sif. Then he was like the ice place. And it was like ice place. I thought he might have been talking about.
I know who Sif is.
I thought you were talking about the lion from the ice place in 2, but then I forgot about the dog thing on the bridge. The Pontiff Knights.
Yeah.
I haven't played Dark Souls 3 in a while, but I have played it a lot.
I haven't played it in a very long time, but
I think the only thing I never did in that game was a divine character build or a faith build.
And obviously a fist build.
Yeah.
I had a fist weapon character.
Oh, with the Cestas?
The Dark Hand, and I think one of those, yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
Because it's got a really good counter.
Yeah.
I didn't play it very much because I suck at countering or parrying, which is kind of a key component to that. I was like, man, I'll just go back to chucking fireballs at people. That's easier.
Yeah, I had a stamina shield on my characters that way I could continue to build up stamina, but I never used it to parry. It was just there to passively build stamina for me.
Yeah, I use the Shield of Want a lot in 3 because it just gives you extra
I would just
souls.
dodge. I just dodge. Just dodge.
I have a character who's got like a headband, or maybe I forget what all he has. But he's got like 3 items on him that give him extra souls. It's like a staff that you get from this bell guy, one of the big bell snake people. It's the shield and a ring, and you have them all together for a bunch of XP. And I ended up like 50 levels ahead of my friends while we were playing through with them.
It's amazing.
All right. Well, we got an off topic again, but I think I've covered just everything I want to talk about for this.
All right, yep. So feel free to share, comment, do whatever you want to do. Maybe we'll get to double digits someday. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.